Hey guys, we're back here with Miles Coffee. We were just talking about marijuana legalization in California, and I was about to start talking on what I think should be the actual conversation when it comes to drugs in this country or even the state. So all the time when we're talking about drugs and what should be legalized and everything, I mean, people always talk about the opioid epidemic that's going on, and they talk about, obviously, that pot should be legalized. The thing is, when we have that conversation, very slowly you're going to see states either make marijuana legal for medicinal use or make it legal, but it goes so slow. And this has been a conversation for 20 some odd years now, and we're still not even halfway to where we need to be in just marijuana alone. My thing is, if we truly care about freedom, or you actually... So if we truly care about freedom, we should be having the conversation on why are not all drugs decriminalized? Why are people still going to prison for doing nonviolent drug crimes, period? And I think you would agree with me on that. My thing is this, people need to understand when it comes to government, they're only going to compromise with you at best. So my thing is, if people really want to see pot legalized across the country, what they need to do is take it 2 steps further than their position. So, for example, if you agree marijuana should be legalized, let's say you agree, something like LSD should be decriminalized along with legalizing pot. So what you do is you advocate for that, or you take it a step further and say decriminalize all drugs. If you argue for decriminalizing all drugs, government is going to hear that and go, damn, you people are crazy, but we're going to give you that at least. So my thing is, if people really care about pot, they shouldn't be having the conversation and saying, should pot be legalized or decriminalized? They need to take it 2 steps further to where we actually can get quote-unquote compromise. Even though I don't think there should be compromise on this issue, at least you'll get something out of government. That's at least my thoughts on how you're going to at least somewhat win. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you on most of that. A lot of the people that are arguing against the legalization of drugs, marijuana included, whatever drug you want to talk about, they have no factual knowledge on any of it. They're just going off of social media, what the stereotype has been for the past however many years. Nobody has actual facts on anything. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, everyone should go do a line of cocaine. It's really fucking invigorating.
Right.
Like, no, you should not do drugs, but you should also see that if we really are free in our country, like we are supposed to be, and actually have personal liberty, freedom, whatever, all drugs should be legal. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you're not harming someone else to support that habit or while you're on it.
Right, exactly. I mean, to me, that's common sense, but other people don't get that. Like, to me, when it comes to having this conversation, it's this... You get straw man, okay? So, whenever you say you want to legalize all drugs, people call you a crazy. They say you're a druggie or whatever. They say all this bull crap. When in reality, look, I've never done anything in my life, basically. Okay, for the 99% of me is clean, okay? Period. I consider caffeine a drug. A lot of people don't, but I mean, I guess that is a drug, literally. So I mean, obviously I do drink coffee now and then, and other things we won't talk about. But overall, I'm clean pretty much. So I'm not a druggie, but I want to see it decriminalized or legalized because I want people to have freedom, and we should be spending our resources on imprisoning people that shouldn't be there. We should spend on actual people who deserve to go to prison. Period. But the whole other aspect of it is, whenever you're having conversations on anything that people quote as crazy, they'll just straw man you and say that you're crazy there. Or, for example, if you say that you want to end all the wars, or you say that, we're attacking innocent people overseas, you'll be called, anti-military, anti-troop, anti-America, when in reality you're just trying to call out what we have done. So whenever you're having these conversations that have to do with freedom or personal liberties or just cutting back at awful things we do as a country, you get strawmanned into a person who is either a druggie, a liberal, leftist, even though you're not, and you get strawmanned to all these bullcrap things, and that's why your thought doesn't ever gets across. There's a lot of political correctness out there on the left. I'm not denying that. But when it comes to these issues that I'm talking about right here, there is a ton of political correctness on the right.
Yeah, there's a little too much on the right. They want to stay a little old-fashioned in their ways and stick with what the conservatives have always been, and the left wants to kind of progress that, but they don't want to progress it fully. They just want enough to appease the people and just keep people on their side. No one ever wants to talk about a full and complete legalization of all drugs, no matter what they be. To what you said, you don't think saying that we shouldn't use our resources on it. That's what it comes down to me. Is I don't want my tax dollars being used to go prosecute somebody that's sitting in their backyard smoking a joint, or if they're driving from somewhere and has a couple grams of weed on them, they're getting their life ruined for it, and it's coming out of my tax dollars for something I don't support. That's where the root of it for me is I just don't think the government should be using resources on it.
Right. No, I'm 100% with you on there. Like, it's just, we're not even at the discussion that we need to be at. Like, the mainstream on this conversation is like legalized pot at best. And it's been 20 years. We've gotten nowhere. Like, nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. So we're good on that. So the next thing I want to talk about is I want to touch on at least Trump's State of the Union address. So first off, I just want to state State of the Unions in general, I think, are a load of crap. I think it's just to honestly just prop up America more, to say what we are so great at and everything. And I don't think it actually means much. I mean, they'll make promises they end up not fulfilling, and it's just a day to just clap for 2 hours straight. But so there were a couple of things though that Trump did say that I do want to touch on. One of them that isn't even being covered has to do with what Trump said about China and Russia. So if you have followed the news at all in the last year, you'll know that there is a bunch of people talking about that there's collusion with Trump and Russia and Putin when it came to the 2016 election, and that Trump is Putin's puppet and everything like that. So there's a couple things I'm going to get into when it comes to that. The first thing that I want to get into is this video, and I'm actually going to go ahead and play this for you guys. I just got to get this tuned up here. But before I do so, I just want to get your thoughts real quick, Miles. So what is your thought on the whole issue that is trying to be made about the Trump-Russia collusion? Do you think that there's something to that? Do you think it's a load of crap? Do you think that, what are your thoughts on it in general?
I think it's a load of crap. If nothing's really been proven in the past however long year, I don't think anything's going to suddenly come to light. But if someone did hack it and do whatever they're saying, they can make it look like a Russian did it. And if Russia did it, they're not going to leave tracks behind. That would just be stupid of a nation, especially that powerful, to leave footprints behind if they're going to meddle in something that huge.
Right.
I think it's just excuses from the left of why Trump won. They can't accept that he actually won. They're kind of beating a dead horse at this point with it. The fact that we're still even talking about it is ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. But for anybody who still thinks there is collusion between Trump and Russia or anything like that, this is what Trump had to say about Trump and Russia during the State of the Union. I think I've got the volume up enough, so let's get going.
Around the world, we face rogue regimes, terrorist groups, and rivals like China and Russia.
That's all you need to hear, literally. Like, if Trump wanted to be nice about it, he wouldn't call Russia rivals and China rivals. He wouldn't put Russia in the same sentence as China. Okay, I'm sorry, he wouldn't do that. Let me just say one other thing, too, when it comes to this. So, a lot of people in the media, especially left-wing people in the media, want to talk about how there's anti-Muslim bigotry, anti-Mexican or anti-Hispanic bigotry, anti-African-American bigotry. And I'm not going to lie. Yes, there is that out there in America, and I'm not denying that at all. And it is somewhat rampant, and it is wrong. However, they're not willing to look in the mirror. And what I mean by that is they are anti-Russia bigots. Let me give you a headline or a tweet from NBC News. A growing number of Russians are coming to the U.S. to give birth. These kids will have the right to live and work here, receive social services, and when they turn 21, will have the right to sponsor their parents for an American green card. Replace Russians with Mexicans, and that is coming out of Donald Trump's mouth. Okay? It's a joke. Like, these people are not willing to look in the mirror and understand, oh yeah, I sound a lot like that assholes in the White House right now.
Yeah, that is the literal exact same argument that Trump's making, only with Russians.
It's literally anti-Russia bigotry. It's like the definition, carbon copy.
Yeah, the left, they pick and choose who they are prejudiced towards, I guess I should say.
Right, exactly. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention about this, if people on the left who are supposed to be progressives are going to call out stuff like saying the Iraq War was a load of crap. Now, some obviously didn't, like Hillary Clinton voted for it and a lot of other Democrats voted for it because they're corporate hacks. However, you want to talk about Russia and Trump. Okay, let's talk about it. This is a story from last September. U.S. Army tanks arrive in Poland as Russia starts military drills on country's border. We, along with NATO troops, are literally on Russia's border, ready for an attack. Okay? If you're going to say that Trump is Putin's puppet, like, first off, A, you either don't know what you're talking about, B, you're just trying to make up because you lost the election, or C, you're a dumbass. It's one of the three, period. It's one of the three. Like, okay, so and that's one story. Here's another story. How about the fact that the United States of America, we are literally funding Ukrainian groups to fight back against Russia, some of them literal fucking neo-Nazis. I'm not kidding when I say that. Like, it is just absolutely blasphemous. Like, it's blasphemous to think that, like, we are still letting these arguments get through the mainstream media and people actually take them as it's real, when in reality, and they're not even covering the stuff that we are actually doing to Russia, or that we are actually possibly going to do to Russia, but what we're worried about with them. And it's a joke. You want to talk about fake news? That is fake news.
Yeah. Speaking of arming Ukrainian rebels or whatever, that's a lot how we started and created and started funding ISIS and all those wonderful regimes over in the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good comment that just came out from Al. Why are we funding anyone? Honestly, I don't think we should be funding
Exactly.
anyone. I think cut all foreign aid. I agree, 100%.
Why are we helping anybody? Fuck everybody.
Right.
We need to worry about ourselves first.
Right, exactly. Like, I mean, Trump had the whole topic about saying, you know, Jerusalem is going to be Israel's capital, and saying that Obama was anti-Israel. Look, Obama literally gave Netanyahu Iron Dome. We literally still funded them millions of dollars under a Democratic president. Trump now is going to expand that. And look, whenever you say anything bad about Israel, you get coined as you're an anti-Semite or anything like that. Look, I will admit, I'll be the first to admit, Hamas, Palestine, everybody over there, they are just as bad. Period. They're just bad. Okay? Both sides of that fight are terrible, just like the Syria and ISIS fight. But we are in both of those fights, and we are trying to be actively the leaders in those fights when we don't know what the hell's going on. We don't know who the hell to support because we are just losing every single second.
Yeah, we only see the bad side in the media here of the Palestinians and Hamas and all that, and we don't see any of the horrible things that Israel is doing. Israel is doing absolutely horrible things to the Palestinians, and I mean, you'll see some of it in like a tweet here or there that goes viral, but you'll never see it in any mainstream media outlets.
They've literally built hundreds and even thousands of illegal settlements.
Yeah, exactly. They bully their way through there, claiming that they're whatever, the Holy Land or whatever they are, and at the same time they're literally dropping like white phosphorus bombs on their people, on the Palestinians, and they're literally war criminals over there, and where they're praised like they're God over here. Yeah,
I know why, and I'm going to get into that here in one sec. I'm going to go ahead and end part 4, and I'll get part 5 started for you guys here in one sec.